Today we'll be discussing how to install the unbranded HDMI kit into your Game Boy Color. This kit features an on-screen display, as well as various different pixel grid and color modes. This kit requires advanced trimming of your shell, as well as the ability to solder. We recommend using an IPS ready shell for this mod, as it will reduce the amount of trimming that you have to do. For this kit, you will need to cut out a hole for the micro HDMI port to fit through your case, as well as cutting out the bottom of the viewing window if you would like to use the color bar included with the kit. These cuts can be made with just an X-Acto knife or similar. However, I used a Dremel to get the majority of the plastic removed and went back with an X-Acto knife to attempt to clean up the cuts afterwards. After you've prepared your shell, you should disconnect the control PCB from the screen and begin to prepare it for soldering. There are a total of 7 wires that will need to be soldered for this kit. First, pre-tin each spot with some flux and a bit of solder. From that point, you can then solder on your wires. After you've soldered the wires onto the control PCB, you can then place the screen into the shell and reattach your control PCB. Now onto the actual soldering on the motherboard of the console. Your soldering is important here. You will have to make sure that you don't have more than about 1 millimeter of wire exposed before soldering it to the board. This will ensure that you don't have any shorts from exposed wires. Follow the diagram on screen for where to solder your wires to. Remember, it helps to keep your wires as short as possible, so be sure to cut them and restrip them as needed. Make sure to trim the cartridge pins, as if you don't, they may apply too much pressure on the screen and can actually damage your screen. Once you've finished up the soldering, you can begin to put your console back together as normal. Just make sure that your micro HDMI port lines up with the hole that you cut. Once it's back together, you can test out your HDMI mod. Please be aware that micro HDMI connections are very weak and break super easily. Too much movement on the cable or even repeated inserts and removals of the cable can damage the connection. To switch pixel grid modes, hold down your touch sensor for the color mode. To bring the battery indicator on screen, hold the touch sensor for your brightness controls. And that's it. If you enjoyed and would like to see more content like this, please be sure to subscribe and check out our wiki in the description below.